Today we discover an expected destination visited by over 60,000 Americans every year, and why 10% of this number decided to stay there permanently. This place became a hotspot for expat retirees looking for an incredible affordable lifestyle. It's a country with many pros, but also some serious cons to consider. Stick around as we reveal the pros, cons, and costs of this new hotspot for expats, Nicaragua. This country in Central America has become an increasingly popular retirement destination for North Americans seeking to make the most of their savings. The low cost of living, picturesque beaches, and welcoming communities make Nicaragua an attractive option. However, like any international move, there are various aspects to consider. Let's start with the positive aspects. First, the cost of living. The affordability of Nicaragua is particularly enticing for retirees on fixed incomes. The cost of living is nearly 50% lower than the US average, with rental prices averaging 84% less. You hear it right, 84% less. This is especially appealing for US citizens looking to make their money stretch further and enjoy retirement in a beach property with jaw-dropping views. In the final part of this video, we'll talk more about the extremely low cost of living in Nicaragua, and get ready to be surprised. The second positive aspect of living in Nicaragua as a foreigner is the possibility of property investment. Nicaragua might be one of the easiest places in Central America to buy real estate. For starters, you don't need to be a citizen to buy property. Real estate is very affordable, and there is an increase in spending on infrastructure and growth within the tourism sector. All that together makes investing in properties a worthy business venture. The third pro, out-of-country earnings are not taxed. If you live in Nicaragua and get money from abroad, for example from a pension fund, and put it in your Nicaraguan bank account, you don't pay income tax on it. Yes, you heard it right. Your income from abroad is tax-free if you receive the payment in your personal account. Fourth pro, variety of things to do. Nicaragua has a huge range of things to do. There is something for every lifestyle. Adventurous ones can try out surfing, diving, or kayaking. There are multiple waterfalls and hiking trails up to volcanoes too. For the not so adventurous, you won't be disappointed. Cities such as Granada and León have an enchanting atmosphere and delicious Nicaraguan cuisine. By now you know that there are many reasons to choose Nicaragua as your next destination, but what about the cons? The things that are not so good. Let's talk about them. Nicaragua is still a relatively undeveloped country. Infrastructure is below the level you can expect in the US or Europe. While tourism has grown, infrastructure remains an adjustment for foreigners. Roads, water, electricity, and the internet may not be as reliable as you expect. Public services like waste management are basic. Public transport options are limited. As is usually the case with undeveloped countries, safety is also a big factor to consider. Nicaragua is a relatively safe country when you consider Latin American standards. With a homicide rate of 6.7 murders per 100,000 residents, it's way safer than countries like Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, or Brazil. It also has lower rates than the Dominican Republic, for example. Still, 6.7 murders per 100,000 people is far from what anyone in Europe, for example, would consider safe. And when you consider crime rates, we are not only talking about homicides. There is a prevalence in Nicaragua of certain crimes such as robberies, break-ins, and muggings, particularly in larger cities such as Managua, where street crime is common. In the capital, there are places like the Oriental Market, a tourist trap where foreigners frequently lose their wallets and cell phones. Foreigners should take care when walking around markets and when visiting poorer areas of the country. Precautions should be taken such as avoiding carrying large amounts of cash or wearing expensive jewelry. Another issue, one that you probably expect me to talk about, is the political situation. There has been political turmoil in the country since 2018, which has caused over 200,000 Nicaraguan citizens to flee the country, many of them moving to neighboring nations like Costa Rica. Foreigners are strongly advised to avoid demonstrations of a political nature. The public healthcare system, although universal and public, can have long wait times and get overloaded. On the positive side, the private system has very affordable options if compared to the US. For this reason, One of the first steps of expats retiring in Nicaragua is to purchase health insurance so they can use private clinics. And a final but still important aspect to consider is the language barrier. Almost everywhere in the country, the language spoken is Spanish, and the amount of people that speak English is quite limited, especially far from the coast. It's highly recommended to learn Spanish beforehand if you're planning to move to Nicaragua. Now that you know the pros and cons, let's go back to the most attractive of all aspects of life in Nicaragua, the cost of living. However, before we begin, I would like to ask a small favor. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. As one of the most affordable countries in Central America, Nicaragua provides great value for expats and retirees looking to enjoy life on a budget. In a medium city, you can find a nice house with 120 square meters or more for less than $150,000. If you want to spend your retirement in a luxury property, you can buy a house with a large swimming pool that could easily be a filming location for a Hollywood movie for $400,000. Here we are talking about a mansion with 10 parking spaces, multiple bathrooms, a large swimming pool, the full package. Groceries and dining out average 50% less than what you would spend in the US. Eating well, you can budget around $200 to $300 per month for food costs for one person. Remember what I told you before about private healthcare? In Nicaragua, a visit to the doctor may cost around $30 to $60 if you have no insurance. This is what you would pay to park your car during a visit to the doctor in some US cities. And you may not even need to pay that if you have private insurance in Nicaragua, which costs something between $150 to $300 per month, the best ones. Sounds good? So let's say that you already researched enough about Nicaragua and you are planning to a visit there to see if you could live there. Which cities you should check? Here are 3 suggestions of cities that may very well fit your plans. The first is León. León has a bit more than 210,000 residents. It's one of the most well-known cities in Nicaragua, along with Managua and Granada, and it's only 20 kilometers from the Pacific coast. León has far less crime than the capital Managua. The city is well known for its Baroque and neoclassical buildings. According to Expat Central America, in the heart of the city, a one-bedroom apartment costs less than $400 to rent. For $600 per month, you can rent a fully furnished house in good neighborhoods. The second city to consider is Matagalpa. Matagalpa has around 165,000 residents and is a mountain city with a more temperate climate, similar to San Diego in California. For this reason, it's known as the land of the eternal spring and a major coffee producing center. There are 300 to 400 foreigners living in the city, mostly Americans and Canadians. Ecotourism contributes significantly to Matagalpa's economic growth. The average monthly cost for a couple to live there is less than $1,200 according to International Living. A 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with a garage and a backyard is available for around $400 per month. And the third city is Granada. This city is at the side of Lake Cochibolca, also called Lake Nicaragua, the 19th largest lake in the world. Its picturesque setting is centered by the popular Yellow Church in the city center. It has a population of just over 150,000 people, so it has all the services and medical care you may need. A comfortable lifestyle in Granada costs less than $1,600 per month. A 2-bedroom apartment can be rented for less than $700 per month, and a basic lunch in the city costs less than $8. From Nicaragua, you'll be a stone throw to visit some of the best Spanish-speaking countries for holidays in the world. You can discover these countries and why you should consider them for your holidays in this video on your left. Here is a tip: they are extremely inexpensive.